Welcome into episode number 192 of The Voice Behind the Voice. I'm Sean Aronson, the TV and radio broadcaster for the St. Paul Saints, an independent minor league baseball team in the Twin Cities. If you saw my Twitter account or follow me on any sort of social media, you know that shortly after I recorded last week's episode, the very next day, the team that I work for, the St. Paul Saints, decided to take our jab, our shot at the Houston Astros. It is the one reason, I shouldn't say the one reason, there are many reasons that I love working in minor league baseball, but this is when I absolutely love it at its core. That I work for an organization that isn't afraid to have some fun, that isn't afraid to get a little bit edgy, that isn't afraid to make some waves. And what we did is we put together an idea that is called the Astro the Grouch Talking Bobblehead. I'm going to bring this trash can in here. Hopefully you'll be able to see this here, if I don't break this. But this is what it looks like. Now, imagine for a moment a Muppet kind of coming out of the top of this, because that's what it is. And this is just a prototype. Obviously, this is not what it's going to look like. It'll be scaled down. It'll be on a bobblehead with a base and stuff like that. But this was the prototype that was put together. Now, on the 31st of July, which happens to be when the Astros are across town to play the Twins, we're going to give away 1,500 of these talking bobbleheads. Astro the Grouch talking bobbleheads. Now, I'm going to let you in on some things that I really couldn't bring up in the press release that I wrote. Number one, and I'll pull this out here again, these little balls that are coming out of the top of the trash can here, right? These are antennas. Now, if you go to the Astros mascot, Orbit, you will see that Orbit has similar antennas coming out of the side of his head. Of course, Astro the Grouch, a play off of Oscar the Grouch, but you cannot use Oscar the Grouch, right? That is copywritten, so you can't do that. And so we combined the Sesame Street angle with the mascot of the Astros to come up with Astro the Grouch. And when you push the button on said talking bobblehead, it will say fastball, curveball, or you'll hear a banging sound. So, look, for the last, month and a half since all this news broke, people kept asking us, what are you guys going to do? What kind of idea do you have? Now, I will say this, the Staten Island Yankees were the first team to come to the table with an idea. They are doing a mini trash can giveaway. Pretty good idea. I thought it was great, and they were the first ones to jump on this. But working for the Saints, there is always a second, a third, and a fourth layer to the ideas that we come up with, and that's what we were able to do. Cannot wait for this day. It's already got us a ton of great publicity. People already saying that they want to buy it, that they're not going to be in town, obviously, because they don't live here, and they want to. On top of that, even Houston media thought this was funny. Now, look, I get it. There are people out there that are tired of this. If you're an Astros fan and you're tired of hearing about all this and you're like, enough is enough. But for the most part, I would tell you like 98% of the people that we saw on social media loved this idea. And that is why I thoroughly enjoy working for this organization. And incidentally, my anniversary on the day that I started just passed late last week when I began with the St. Paul Saints. So officially 13 full years here with the St. Paul Saints, and it has been pretty memorable 13 years. With that said, let's get to episode number 192. It is Steve Holman of the Atlanta Hawks. Talk about being here for 13 years or in minor league baseball for 19 years. Steve Holman is a guy that I was talking to on a day that his consecutive broadcast streak, I believe it reached, or I think it passed by one, Cal Ripken's Ironman streak. Now, what Steve is trying to do, if he continues on this pace, is to catch the legendary Chick Hearn, the former Los Angeles Laker broadcaster who has since passed away. But he did, I think it was over 3,300 consecutive games. So we come right out of the chute talking about that and how he got started with Johnny Most, the former Boston Celtics legendary voice, and how he started doing some things during Celtics games for Johnny Most. And look, this is a guy that's been around a while and has broadcast all these games consecutively. It was pretty impressive to sit down and talk to him on a day that where numbers are important, and especially in the world of baseball, and his number happened to be that in terms of consecutive games broadcast, one past what Ripkian's streak was. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, you can do so wherever you get your podcasts, and then be sure to rate us. And you can follow us on social media, Twitter @TheVoiceBTV, Facebook, facebook.com/TheVoiceBTV. And you can always email me, thevoicebtv@gmail.com. Do not email me and ask me if you can get an Astro the Grouch talking bobblehead. I promise you we will not have any to give away. But maybe I'll keep one back and then do some sort of contest during that week's podcast. Maybe I can increase our listenership by tenfold if I promise to give one of these away. Maybe that. I don't know. We'll see. But let's get to episode number 192 with Steve Holman of the Atlanta Hawks. JW, don't worry. We'll have one of these for you, my friend. Roll the open.
I grew up in Boston, and one of the significant numbers in baseball is Ted Williams' last 400 hitter, so he hit 406. So it's just one of those things that I kind of, go 4.06 miles, and I go 61 minutes and 8 seconds because of Yaz, who was another one of my, one of my heroes. So, and it gives me something to do. I mean, it's I know it's kind of silly probably, but I do that same thing every day. I go put the incline on 4 miles an hour, and go 4.06. So I call it the Moses Malone workout. It's the faux.